Hello everybody and welcome to Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. I'm Jack and today I've got a bit of a different video here for you guys. As you may or may not know, Pokebeach, the website that has a lot of breaking news for Pokemon, has recently formed a partnership with a company called TCGplayer.com, which is a card buying and selling website. And as part of that partnership, they've set up monthly tournaments. And for January, I've entered the January tournament. It's just a 64-man standard tournament. And we decided I'm going to speak to all my opponents and see if I can record the rounds, just so we have a different type of video on the channel for the next few weeks. There'll be 6 rounds, so there will at least be 6 videos. Well, hopefully there will be 6 videos of battles that I'm going to do. It's going to be the same deck each time. I'm actually playing Night March. I will include a link to or a list at some point. It won't be a full in-depth discussion like what we usually do, though we may do an updated Night March list in the near future, so you may indeed see that. But yeah, so I thought, why not record some of the battles, record my way through the tournament and see how it goes. So we're just waiting on my first round 1 opponent. His name is Shiny Swadloon on Pokebeach, so Shiny Swadloon, if you are watching, I hope our battles go okay, and I'll be back with you when the battle begins. Okay, so after some slight technical difficulties, we have our first battle against Shiny Swadloon. We have to stick to the same deck. It's like a full tournament. We have to stick to the same deck throughout the tournament. So I'm going to be playing Night March, simply because it's relatively easy to play. It's got relatively nice matchups across the board, and I'm not bothered about doing amazingly in this tournament. I just want to have some fun and meet some new people playing some games. So yeah, I thought Night March would probably be an okay deck. It looks like some interesting types on the little screen down there, so we'll see what our opponent's playing. Jolteon sleeves are also pretty cool. We do indeed have the Pumpkaboo to start, and I'm going to hold these other 2 just for now. And it looks like we also may be going against Night March. This could be a lot of fun, actually. I like Night March mirror matches. They're usually pretty interesting. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hold on to this Xerosic, just because it's always useful to be able to grab your, get rid of your opponent's DCEs. Though I do want to lower my hand size to get some use out of this Shaman, so let's go for the Ultra Ball. I may actually discard this. Yeah, okay, let's discard the Xerosic and the Ultra Ball and grab ourselves another Pumpkaboo. Let's see what else we've got in the deck. Looks like 1 Lampent is prized. Oh no, 1, 2, 3. We've got all 4 Joltik. And so we know 1 Lampent and 1 Pumpkaboo is prized, and also 1 Shaman. Okay, useful to know. All of this information could be useful if we can't get our hands on the town map we play. And then I'm also going to go for the Pumpkaboo and Feebas, benching them both. I could attach the DCE, but there's a pretty high chance he's going to have a way of being able to discard it. So I think I'm just going to hold the DCE and get 1 less card with Shaman. Okay, we can get ourselves a second Shaman if we want. That may not be a bad idea, actually. I saw some grass in the overlay, so I think this may be sort of a Vespiquen Night March, a mix of the 2. So we'll see how this goes. Let's use the second Ultra Ball, discarding the Lampent, and I think I'm also going to discard the Sycamore. I would be very surprised if we're not going to if we're going to see any anything that can do bench damage to the Joltik, so I am indeed going to bench the Joltik as well. And there's no need in holding the second Sycamore, just because we're going to discard it anyway, so Joltik is slightly more useful in that situation. So we'll draw up to 6 again with Shaman, and we do get the a Battle Compressors, which is really nice. That means we can dump some of these Joltiks. We also have the town map, which is a nice thing to know, and the Buddy Buddy Rescue, which is another card that we only run 1 of that can be really clutch in some situations. So yeah, let's get rid of these 2 Lampents, and I'm going to leave the Joltik in there simply because we're going to be discarding quite a few of our Night March's next turn, which is a bit of a risk. It's I think it might be one that I'm going to have to be willing to take, unfortunately, though. But like we say, we do have the Buddy Ready Rescue and the Milotic line to be able to deal with that. So let's get rid of these 2 Lampen, and also I'm actually going to get rid of a no, let's get rid of the Lysander here, just so our VS Seekers are active. Again, I'm going to hold on to this DC just in case he has any form of hammers like Xerosic or even Crushing or Enhanced Hammer. We don't want to be sort of losing an energy early on. And he indeed plays a Mountain Ring, which is quite a nice play when you're playing Joltix and stuff. I do much prefer the Dimension Valley in play, but he may not even be playing Dimension Valley. Oh, sorry, there is one in the discard. I didn't even see that. So he's going to use his ability on the Unknown to grab himself an extra card, and indeed gets a DC as well. Is going to Battle Compressor, so if this is a supporter, he's going to have a really, really good hand. There's already one Lampent in the discard, so we are going to be going down here. But that's okay, because we can respond with the Joltik, or even the Shaman. In fact, I think we'll probably respond KO with a Shaman here, just so we can retain the DCE. He does have the VS Seeker, which is really nice, meaning that he could discard a supporter with the Battle Compressor and get it back with the VS Seeker, though that is one more Night Marcher. One Night Marcher he didn't get into the discard, which could be helpful. So yeah, as I thought, it is going to be a Vespiquen, sort of a combination between Night March and Vespiquen. I saw the grass attackers, or the grass typing in the overlay, and I couldn't think of any other real viable options, so I thought we might be seeing a Vespiquen line here. And we are indeed going to go down to this Joltik, which is fair enough. Like I say, we can respond KO with the Shaman, which is always really nice. I'm going to drop the Pumpkaboo, because again, I think I want Pumpkaboos. I think Pumpkaboos are probably the more important thing to go down, or the least important thing to lose here, just because it means that we can still sort of get attacks with Shaman, which is nice. So we are going to attach this DCE, and again, I'm going to bench this Pumpkaboo. Is there anything in the discard I want? Because I can Ultra Ball to grab a Milotic, but I don't know that there's anything I really want in the discard. We could get the DC is going to be going down anyway. I don't think there's anything we really want, which makes me wonder whether we should actually hold this hand or whether we should dig. Because this way, if we do somehow, well, there's no way you can get a DC in the discard, so maybe it's not the correct play to hold. I think I'm going to hold this hand actually, just because there's nothing we really need to dig for. We know we have a DCE next turn, and we are going to grab a prize here. Getting a Megaphone may or may not be useful. I doubt it will be, just because all of our Pokemon are pretty low HP, so things like Muscle Band and stuff won't be all that useful for our opponent. But even so, we're just going to throw a Pumpkaboo up, just because I think that's the most expendable thing on our board at the moment, as it needs the most resources to actually get set up. And we could actually go for a Lysander on the Joltik next turn, using the Milotic's ability, but I think the Vespiquen is probably a more imminent threat at the moment. Let's see how many Night Marches we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Night Marches in the discard at the moment. We can easily get another couple if we need to be able to knock out this Vespiquen, if that is indeed what we want to do. Going for the level wall, I would imagine for another Night Marcher or an Unknown or something like that. Yeah, indeed, getting himself another Unknown, probably for another card. I would imagine it looks like he's hasn't hit the DCE yet, so maybe he's looking for the DCE at the moment, just to be able to use Be Revenge on the Pumpkaboo. I'm more than certain it will be able to knock us out. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 in the discard, plus an extra 20 for Be Revenge, so without a doubt he's going to be able to knock us out here. And he does indeed get the DCE, meaning that he can knock us out and is one prize ahead. But we are going to be able to respond KO with the Vespiquen, on the Vespiquen here, with Joltik. So we're going to draw. Again, is there anything we really want here? I don't really think there is. I think we're still better off holding this Ultra Ball. We've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 damage in the discard, so Vespiquen is going to be going down here. So we can simply just attach the energy and knock it out. I don't think there's anything we really need to do here, just because it's kind of wasting resources for the sake of wasting them. What else could we get here? There's no way to knock out both Pokemon in a turn. A Dimension Valley would be nice, just in case we have to use Pumpkaboo. But I don't want to do that until we've thinned out the deck a little bit with the Milotic. So I think for now, we're just going to go for Night March, take the knockout, keep it simple, and use our resources when we need them rather than just because we can at the moment. And we do indeed get the Shaman. So we may be able to draw some extra cards here with either of our two Shamans. Our board state is looking a little stronger than his, especially if he can't get any Pokemon next turn. I think we have a pretty good chance of winning here, just because unless he runs another red card or something like that. But he does indeed get a second Pokemon, which is definitely useful for him, preventing us benching him next turn. And a third, which is always useful. We are one prize behind on the prize trade, which is worrying me a little bit, simply because he does have access to be able to knock out our Shaman if he needs to. But I think the thing that will help me is the fact that I can use the Shaman to bounce and still kill Joltix, which is really nice. Okay, so let's Ultra Ball. We don't really need to discard the Joltix anymore. I think I'm going to discard one Shaman and one Joltik, just so we've got access to both. And the rest of the cards could be useful. Then potentially the Megaphone could have gone. So we're going to get the Milotic and use Sparkling Ripples. Getting the DCE back. Pretty much the primary function of Milotic, just to be able to get DCs back. It's really, really powerful. And we can attach it to the Shaman. I will bench the Joltik, but I think I'm going to go for the Trainer's Mail and the Acrobike first, just to see exactly what we've got in our hand. We do have the D-Valley, which is really nice, and a VS Seeker. I think I'm going to go for the Dimension Valley, though. And I might as well put it into play, just because we're going to be using Shaman this turn to grab some more cards. We can happily pick the AZ up. Now we know we've got a Dimension Valley in the hand. So yeah, we're going to drop the Dimension Valley, and indeed drop the Joltik. I am going to use this AZ on the Milotic, but it will result in one less card with the Shaman if I do it before. So I'm going to grab some more cards with the Shaman, and then Hex is tempting, but I think AZing the Milotic will be useful, just to be able to grab that DCE if we lose it again later on in the game. So we're going to use Sky Return, bouncing the Shaman back into our hand, and grabbing ourselves another prize. And again, I'm going to put the Pumpkaboo up, just because it's the most difficult thing to knock out that we definitely don't need. We could potentially put the Shaman up, but he takes 2 prizes from that, which isn't particularly nice. So he gets his town map, and he has an Ultra Ball, a Combi, and a Muscle Band left. And he's going to go for the Skylar. Potentially looking for maybe an Ultra Ball or a Floatstone or something like that. Go for the Mountain Ring. Okay, getting himself. So that means he's not going to be attacking with Pumpkaboo this turn, which could be important for us, because it could mean we can take an extra. He's automatically losing a turn of attacking by doing that, which means we may be able to sort of go ahead in the prize trade here. He's going to get a second Pumpkaboo. I think I may have a way to be able to Lysander the Joltik. I don't remember if I... Okay, I did discard the Lysander, so we can actually knock out the Joltik here, which is going to be relatively painful for him, I think. I'm going to try using Super Scoop Up on the Pumpkaboo. Yeah, because I don't want to attach this Floatstone until it's completely necessary. So I'm going to go for the Lysander. Let's drop the Pumpkaboo again. Use Lysander on the Joltik, just because that's the imminent threat at the moment. He seems to be missing his DCs a little bit, or at least this turn. And Yeah, let's just go for the Sky Return. Again, there's no real reason to use many of our resources here, just in case we need them for a better use later on. At the moment, we're doing completely fine. So, I'd rather save them for if we get into a kind of awkward situation where we need some resources quickly. At least we have a lot of different outs to be able to get what we need. So these matches are best of 3. So after this match, we'll just we'll speak to one another and let each other know who wants to go first or second. So the respective person can say yes or no. Well, choose who goes first or second in the next game. So he's going to get another energy on the Pumpkaboo, and I think we can actually do pretty much the same play again, just this time using the Joltik to knock out the Pumpkaboo on the bench, which will put us at 1 prize to 3. Because again, unless he manages to get the Dimension Valley here, he's going to have to miss a turn of attacking. Oh, he's going to have to miss a turn of attacking anyway because he attached the energy here. So I think we can probably do the same thing. This time we will actually have to use the Floatstone on the Pumpkaboo, but that's okay. So we can retreat into the Joltik, attach the DCE, and use the Milotic again, instead of a Vespiquen this time, to grab the Lysander and go for that same Pumpkaboo, just so he now needs the DCE and the Dimension Valley to be able to take a knockout next turn. We've got our Pumpkaboo with the Floatstone, so I'm not bothered about benching anything else, just because we have a free retreater, which will be useful. I believe, I haven't been paying full attention, but I believe our last prize is still that Lampant, so we should know exactly what's there, but I may have missed that somehow. So he has the DC, he's going to go for the Milotic. We do have a DC in hand to retreat, so okay, he does have the Enhanced Hammer, meaning that we're going to have to find a way to retreat and attach an energy. So maybe we need another AZ or something. Going to go for Revive on the Unknown. That's a nice play to get an extra card. Perhaps looking for the Dimension Valley, but maybe he doesn't want to take the prize here just because it's more, the Milotic is a little bit more awkward in the active spot rather than taking an extra prize. So he could do either way, but he might keep, okay, he's going to keep the Unknown on the bench. So we do have Dimension Valley, but I don't want to play it just because there's no real reason to. What do we need here? I think we're going to have to lower the hand size as much as possible. So let's attach the DCE, use the Battle Compressor to discard as much as we can. What we want is either a Super Scoop Up or a Vespiquen for the AZ here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outs, plus the 3 Trainers Mails. Was it 3? Yeah, 3 Trainers Mails, plus an Acro Bike, 2 Acro Bikes. Okay, so we have quite a few outs. So we just want to get rid of stuff that isn't going to be potentially too useful in this situation, and that is going to be the Joltik, the Muscle Band, and the Feebas, just because none of those cards will get us more cards if we draw into them. Although they're all insta-play cards, whereas things like Hex aren't. So maybe let's reconsider. Let's get rid of the Hex, just because that definitely won't help us. The Town Map won't help us, though it is an insta-play card. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the Feebas and the Joltik. Or the Muscle Band and the Joltik. Then we can, as much as I don't want to, I think we're going to have to play the Dimension Valley just to be able to get some cards down. What are we at the moment? We've got 8 cards in hand. That will take us to 7. Take us down to 6. The Shaman will draw us 1 card. I'm pretty sure with a Sycamore we should hit one of the Super Scoop Ups, but I'm not fully confident on my flips. I'd rather do it the long way and try and get the secure the movement with the AZ rather than risk it with a flip. So we will. Okay, we get another Battle Compressor. That's another card out of the deck that we can get rid of. Let's get rid of the other Battle Compressor. there are quite a few really useful resources here. We could get rid of the Buddy Buddy, I suppose. I just want to get rid of anything that isn't really going to lead us to an out. So I think the town map as well. Just because now we're dropping both Shamans, it's less important to have it. We're going to drop the second Shaman, hopefully pull a VS Seeker. Okay, we don't, so we're going to go for... I think the Acro Bike is correct here, just because we want to dig as much as possible, and we do indeed get the VS Seeker, which is really, really nice. Meaning that we can use the VS Seeker to grab AZ and pick up Milotic. Sending up Joltik and going for Night March for the knockout. So we've taken game 1. It was indeed the Lampent, and we've taken game 1. So I presume he'll want to go first, but I will just send him a quick message, and I'll be back with you in round 2 or match 2. Okay, so we're into game 2 against our opponent. He has chosen to go second, so if we win the coin flip, we will be going first. Interesting that he chose to go second. I personally pretty much always prefer going first, just the extra energy attachment. Though in this deck you don't want to be attaching energy turn 1, so maybe it is the correct play to go second. Unfortunately, we're starting Shaman here, which is probably that or Milo Feebas, sorry, is the worst starter that we have in the deck. So we're going to get off to a pretty interesting start. We do have the Hex, which is really nice. That means his unknowns are going to be relatively useless. Let's start off with the Battle Compressor. Let's look at our Pokemon line. Okay, so we've got one Lampent. Pretty much my first Battle Compressor will be as many Lampent as possible. And it'll also establish whether there are any Lampent prized, which again, we do have one Lampent prized. Then I'll go back through and just sort of look at what other Pokemon we've got prized. So we've got 1 Joltik and 2 Pumpkaboo, 3 Pumpkaboo, 2 Joltik, 4 Pumpkaboo, and so all 4 of our Joltik and all 4 of our Pumpkaboo are available to us, and we have 1 Feebas prized as well, I believe. So that's all useful information to know. So let's get rid of those. I'm going to use the second one and just get rid of probably 1 Joltik, 1 Pumpkaboo, and then maybe a Sycamore, just for us to use next turn if we need to. I'm then going to go for a Trainer's Mail, and we get the Muscle Band. I think I'm going to grab this Muscle Band. I don't think it's going to be particularly useful in this matchup, so I'm going to discard it with the Ultra Ball. We're going to be getting another Shaman here. Shaman was another thing I didn't check actually. Yeah, okay, so we've got all 3 of our Shamans. Hopefully we can draw a Night Marcher here. I took a bit of a risk going for Shaman rather than a Night Marcher, but hopefully that's okay. We do get another Night Marcher, so we all have access to using Night March next turn if we want. Unfortunately, we're against a Joltik here, which is never ideal. So maybe we should actually bench the Joltik and go for the Super Scoop Up, see if we can pick up this Shaman, just so our opponent can't take 2 prizes next turn. Again, I'm going to go for the Shaman, just because I'm going to be using Hex Maniac this turn. So we need to use our Shamans beforehand. We get an Energy and an Ultra Ball, which is really nice. Do I want to use the Ultra Ball now? Is there anything that we really need to Ultra Ball? We could potentially. I think I'm going to go for the Ultra Ball, discarding the AZ and the Megaphone. I'm just going to grab a second Joltik, I think. Or maybe a Pumpkaboo. Let's grab a Pumpkaboo. It will mean we need to find a Dimension Valley next turn if he manages to knock out this Joltik, which I'm sure he will be able to. But we do have the VS Seeker to be able to grab Sycamore if we want to. So I'm going to go for Hex Maniac just to hopefully slow him down a little bit, and then pass it over to see what our opponent can do. These unknowns will be stuck for a turn, which is really nice, meaning that he doesn't have as much draw support as perhaps he first thought, which could help us a little bit. So we'll see what our opponent has to do this turn. If he doesn't get anything, I might even consider using Vespiquen on the Hex Maniac again, just because if he's got a pretty rough hand, he may have to use something else. Okay, so he couldn't do much. Unfortunately, we don't have the Dimension Valley, which means I wonder whether AZ is correct here. I think AZ is correct. I think if we AZ, we can bench the Pumpkaboo back down, use a Shaman to knock out this Joltik, and retain a DC at the same time, and then throw the Pumpkaboo up again. It means he's gonna have to send up a Unknown as well, which is never too nice. So I think, yeah, that's the play I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna Vespiquen to grab that AZ and use it on the active Pumpkaboo, sending up the Shaman, and then we'll drop the Pumpkaboo back down and attach a double colourless and Sky Return to knock out the Joltik. In the mirror match, Sky Return is a really, really useful way of knocking out Joltiks, because you know you're always going to retain that DCE. We do indeed get the second Feebas as well, so that's one of our prizes that we know has gone, but we still know there's a Lampent left in the prizes somewhere. Okay, he's benched a Soul Rock. I believe that's the one that, yeah, searches your deck for 2 special energy cards. That's pretty nice. And he's then used a town map. So let's see what our opponent has in the prizes. He has a DCE, which is potentially really useful. So he's going to have to pass it over. I'm going to bench the Feebas. We can get a few cards with Shaman here. It's just whether I think I'm going to have to attack with Pumpkaboo. So we're just going to go for it and hopefully be able to find ourselves a Dimension Valley. Hopefully with the Shaman and the Sycamore we should be able to. But obviously we could draw sort of all of our DCs with Sycamore or something, which will be pretty rough. So I'm going to get another Night Marcher in there. Actually, I should check how many I've got in the discard at the moment. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 Night Marchers. So we do have enough to knock out the Vespiquen. So Night Marchers are a little less important to get into the discard, but we also don't really want to be drawing them. So I think we should still probably get rid of one. And then maybe let's get rid of... We saw how useful the Batter Compressors became at the end of the last game, so I'd like to hold on to at least one of them. So I think I'm actually going to get rid of a Hex Maniac, just because, again, we don't really want to draw into it. Then we're going to go for the Shaman, drawing 5 cards, and hopefully we're going to hit the D-Valley. Like I say, we hit 2 DCs, so now I really don't want to use the Sycamore, so we're going to have to find a different way of going about this play. We're going to use the Super Scoop Up to try and pick up a Shaman, but we don't unfortunately get a Heads. We'll go for a Compressor. This is where the deck can sometimes sort of shoot itself in the foot, just because you're going through so many resources. Then when you use Shaman, you're going to pick up all your DCs, so then you're really not inclined to be able to use Sycamore anymore. Is there anything that we really don't need? See, pretty much everything is useful to an extent. It's just choosing what isn't as useful as some of the other things. I think I'm going to get rid of a Milotic here. Okay, Buddy Buddy Rescue is also in the prizes, so I'm actually not going to do that. Just because Buddy Buddy Rescue is one of the only outs to getting, well, is our only out to getting Milotic back. I think Super Scoop Up is fine. It's the least useful card, I believe. And then we're going to drop another Shaman. Hopefully we either draw the Dimension Valley or we don't draw another DCE. We get an Acrobike, so there's another 2 cards for us to look at. We get a Vespiquen or a Trainer's Mail. A Trainer's Mail has a pretty high percentage chance, I think, now. But we haven't used a supporter yet. Let's go for the Trainer's Mail. I think we've got to try and dig for this knockout just to be able to take as many prizes as we can early on. And we do indeed get the Dimension Valley, which is really nice. So we are going to be able to drop the Dimension Valley and go for Night March to knock out this unknown, doing 240 damage to it, and getting ourselves another prize. We get an Ultra Ball, which is neither here nor there. There's nothing we really need to search for now, but having access to be able to grab Milotic if we need it is always really useful, especially now we might have to discard an extra energy with the Sycamore if we want to dig for more cards. Okay, so our opponent does indeed grab the Lysander and the Enhanced Hammer, meaning that we're going to have to find another way of being able to move this Feebas next turn rather than attaching energy to it, unless we draw. Okay, we've drawn the Trainer's Mail. We could actually use the Ultra Ball to grab Milotic, to grab the AZ to move the Milotic. Our opponent has no cards in hand, so he's going to have to top deck something well. Maybe we'll go for the Trainer's Mail first, just in case we find anything particularly useful. Like there is a Floatstone still in the deck. Okay, we find a Town Map. Town Map is something that is at least has some use to it. And Lysander, Lampent, Dimension Valley, and Buddy Rescue are in the prizes. Okay, so here I think again I'm going to attach to Pumpkaboo, Ultra Ball. I think here the Feebas and the Joltik, just because we have the attackers we need to grab ourselves a Milotic. It's kind of a convoluted way of doing this, but at least it works. So then we can grab the Milotic and use it to search our discard for the AZ. So we can then pick up the Milotic and send the Pumpkaboo back up. Drop the Feebas back down, so next turn if he does the same again we can use AZ. If he doesn't, we can get ourselves another DCE if we lose another one. And we take our third prize. I think here Dimension Valley is definitely useful, but I think Lysander, no, because I haven't seen any EXs. I think Dimension Valley is probably the most useful card here, just in case he manages to find himself the Mountain Ring. He does get another Pokemon, which is really important, and we do get the Floatstone as well. So there's no reason to discard the Floatstone. We could use the Floatstone actually. We could use the Floatstone. Actually, there's no reason to go out of our way to use Shaman to knock it out. So let's just use Night March. He says this is why Shaman's help. Yeah, Shaman is definitely really useful for Night March. It's unfortunate that he perhaps doesn't have any. I think Buddy Rescue here. There's no reason to take the Lampent because there's no way for us to discard it without using the Sycamore, and it's not something I particularly want to use at the moment. So yeah, it looks like our opponent perhaps doesn't own Shamans or something, which is really unfortunate. Because it can sometimes mean the difference between sort of a really consistent deck and one that isn't as consistent as if it did have Shamans, which is really unfortunate. But unfortunately, I guess it's something that the game is nowadays. So he uses a Battle Compressor, and we can indeed take the final prize, or bench our opponent with Pumpkaboo. We're going to say good game. He was a really good sport. So we'll say, oh, where is it? Good game. And so yeah, that was round 1 of the Pokebeach tournament. I'm going to upload the rest of the rounds if there's significant interest. Well, I'll upload them anyway, just because I'm going to enjoy this tournament, I know, and hopefully you guys will too. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack from Omnipoke. Thank you, Shiny Swadloon, for the great games. They were pretty intense. And if you're watching, you're a really good sport, and I wish you luck for the rest of the tournament. And yeah, if anyone else is playing in the tournament that watches our videos, I suppose we may end up battling at some point. But if not, good luck to you all, and yeah, this should be a lot of fun. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack from Omnipoke, and I will see you all in another video.